Charlie Woods just made the biggest decision of his young career, and on the surface, it looks simple. A top junior golfer picks a college. That happens every year. But this one feels different, because when your last name is Woods, nothing is ever just a normal decision. Every step gets compared. Every round gets judged. Every future gets mapped out before you even choose it for yourself. And that's why this moment matters so much. For years, people assumed Charlie's path was already written. Same bloodline, same spotlight, maybe even the same college route. But then came a move that stopped people in their tracks. Florida State. Not just a school, not just a golf program. A statement, a direction, a break from the script everybody else had already prepared for him. And the truth is, this decision may say more about Charlie Woods than any scorecard we've seen so far. Because this isn't only about where he's going. It's about who he's becoming. And by the end of this story, you may look at Charlie Woods very differently than you do right now. If you truly love golf, if this game means something to you, and if you enjoy stories like this that go deeper than just scores and headlines, then subscribe and become part of this golf family. Because golf is not just about trophies. It's about pressure, legacy, growth, heartbreak, and moments like this that remind us why we care so much. When people hear the name Charlie Woods, the first reaction is almost automatic. Tiger's son. And that's understandable. It's the biggest shadow in modern golf. Maybe the biggest shadow in sports, period. But here's what makes Charlie's story so interesting right now. For one of the first times, this decision feels less like a family headline and more like a personal one. Public reports said Charlie verbally committed to Florida State, choosing to stay in-state and join a rising Seminoles program that has produced names like Brooks Koepka, Daniel Berger, and Clanton. He was also expected to be part of the 2027 class alongside elite junior Miles Russell. That alone tells you this is not some random choice. This is a competitive move, a strategic move, a serious golf move. And that matters. Because if Charlie wanted the easy story, the obvious story, the made-for-TV story, there were other paths people would have loved to talk about. The comparisons were already there. The assumptions were already there. But instead of walking into a storyline other people built for him, he made a choice that feels like his own. And that's where this gets powerful. This isn't just Charlie Woods picking a logo to wear. This is Charlie stepping into a space where he can build his game, his identity, and maybe most importantly, his separation. Not from his father as a person, but from the constant idea that his life has to be a copy of Tiger's life. But here's the part nobody talks about. Choosing your own path sounds inspiring when you say it out loud. Living it is much harder. Because now the questions change. Before, people asked whether Charlie could live up to the name. Now they'll ask whether he made the right decision. Whether Florida State can sharpen him enough. Whether he can develop fast enough. Whether the hype matches the reality. Whether he's really ready. And that's the unfair part of being Charlie Woods. Even a smart decision becomes a test. Still, if you look closely, there are real reasons this choice makes sense. Florida State is not a gimmick destination. This is a respected college golf environment with a coach in Trey who has built winners and developed professionals. This is a place where a young player can compete, improve, and be pushed. And maybe that's the biggest clue of all. Charlie didn't need the flashiest narrative. He needed the right fit. That tells me something. It tells me he may be thinking less like a celebrity kid and more like a golfer. And wait till you hear what that could mean for his future. Because one of the most fascinating parts of this whole story is who he could be surrounded by. Reports linked him with Miles Russell, one of the top junior names in the country. Imagine that environment. Every practice round matters. Every session pushes you. Every weakness gets exposed. Every lazy moment gets punished. That's not comfort. That's growth. And real golfers understand this. Sometimes the biggest career decision isn't choosing the place where you'll be the biggest star. It's choosing the place that forces you to become one. That's why this commitment hits differently. Charlie is still young. He's still developing. He is not some finished product walking into college golf with everything solved. And honestly, that makes this more exciting, not less. Because golf fans don't just connect with perfection. We connect with progression. We connect with the grind. With the pressure of trying to become something before the whole world decides whether you already are or not. Charlie has already shown signs that he belongs in the conversation. He's been ranked among the top junior players, won the AJGA Team Tailor-Made Invitational, qualified for major junior events, and helped the Benjamin School win a state title with a strong closing round. Those are real achievements, not family achievements. His achievements. But this is where everything changed. Junior golf success gets attention. College decisions create direction. Once you commit somewhere like Florida State, people start seeing a shape to your future. The story becomes more real. The dream becomes more demanding. And the margin for error feels smaller, not bigger. Because now it's no longer just, can Charlie play? Now it becomes, what is Charlie building? A college commitment like this tells the golf world that Charlie is entering the next phase. Not as a novelty, not as a headline machine, as a player with a path. And yet, if we're being honest, there's tension here too. Because being the son of Tiger Woods is not something you rise above once and never deal with again. It follows every range session, every tournament, every interview, every bad round, every good round. If Charlie shoots 74, people react. If he shoots 68, people overreact. And that can wear on a young player fast. So in a strange way, this Florida State move may not just be about golf mechanics, coaching, or recruiting classes. It may be about breathing room, a place close enough to home, but different enough to feel like his own chapter. A place where he can still carry the name, but maybe hear his own voice a little more clearly. That's not weakness. That's maturity. And honestly, that may be the most impressive thing about this whole decision. Because the strongest young athletes are not always the ones who chase the loudest stage. Sometimes they're the ones who understand themselves early enough to choose the right one. Now here comes the surprising part. A lot of fans hear Charlie Woods and think the timeline should move fast. They want instant wins, college dominance, PGA Tour headlines tomorrow. But golf does not care about your last name, and it definitely does not care about public impatience. Golf humbles everyone. That's why this Florida State chapter could become so important. It gives Charlie a bridge between junior promise and adult expectation. It gives him structure, competition, accountability, and maybe most of all time to fail a little, time to adjust, time to learn how to be Charlie Woods before the world demands a final answer on who Charlie Woods is. That's huge. And if you're a real golf fan, you know this is actually the beautiful part of the story. Not certainty, possibility. Because no one can guarantee what happens next. Not me, not the media, not even the people closest to him. A verbal commitment is a major step, but the real story will be written in practice, in pressure, in college events, in setbacks, in how he responds when the game gets hard. And it will get hard. It always does. But maybe that's exactly why this move feels right. Florida State doesn't erase the pressure. It doesn't magically remove the comparisons. It doesn't guarantee Charlie becomes a star. What it does do is give him a lane. A serious one, a competitive one, a believable one. And that's enough to make golf fans pay attention. Because beneath the famous last name, beneath the cameras, beneath all the noise, there's still something simple at the center of this story. A young golfer is trying to find his way. That's relatable. That's human. And that's why people care. By choosing Florida State, Charlie Woods may have just done something bigger than picking a college. He may have chosen independence over expectation, development over storyline, reality over fantasy. And for someone raised under one of the brightest lights the sport has ever seen, that might be the boldest move of all. This is why stories like this matter. Not because they tell us exactly what the future will be, but because they show us the moment a future starts to take shape. Charlie Woods still has so much to prove, so much to learn, so much to build. But this decision feels like the first truly loud sign that he's ready to build it his way. And as golf fans, that should make us excited. Not because we're guaranteed another legend, but because we're watching someone fight to become himself. So what do you think? Did Charlie Woods make the perfect move for his future? Or do you think an even bigger surprise is still coming later in his journey? Let me know in the comments. And if you love golf stories that mean something, stay with this channel, because this game always gives us another moment worth talking about. Grounding note. This script is based on public reporting that Charlie Woods verbally committed to Florida State in February 2026, was ranked number 21 in the AJGA rankings at the time, attended the Benjamin School, won the AJGA Team TaylorMade Invitational, helped Benjamin win a state title with a closing 68, and was expected to join Miles Russell in FSU's 2027 class. Reports also noted Florida State connections through Trey Jones, Brooks Koepka, and Clanton.